Investigates starts right now. What is up, my beautiful people? It's the Mabsta, burning the candle at both ends. I got me a green screen finally. There's no more pixelation. I can do all kinds of backgrounds now. Watch. I can go like this. I can be like this. I can do the Tiger, the Tony, or the Nancy, or the puppy. Oh, the puppy. You can't even see the puppy. There's the puppy. Anyway, how you guys doing tonight? Nitro, hello, and Jim Survival. Yeah, got a new green screen. It's like a, check it out. There's my office. Oh, you want to say hi real quick?
Yeah, I'll say hi real quick. Coming under the green screen. Oh, then you're gonna have to let me out.
You're gonna have to crawl out. Mrs. Mab.
Oops, my phone is on. Oh no.
Look how good you look with the green screen. What's up, Debbie? Risa Joe, Cindy Lou,
Debbie,
Nanette,
Jim.
Lucas is doing better if I cook his food just right. And put a little bit of salt and teriyaki sauce.
Except he threw up on his bed.
Yeah, and I got to clean
wash
it up.
his whole
Sheila,
bed.
what's up? Victoria Burgess.
Susie.
Good to see you.
Dulce.
I was thinking about going on Dolly's live and coming in from my live and seeing what that does.
Dread lover. All right, you have fun with your stuff. I gotta go to bed so I don't sleep through my alarm again.
All right.
Barely made it to work on time this morning.
Okay. I'm gonna.
I have to crawl?
No, I'll let you
I'll
out.
just move it.
Okay. And the dog can't get at me now either.
Oh, Daddy, no. Oh, it's a nice treat.
Can you give me like a brush real quick so I can do my hair?
What?
My hair's not right. I'm having a bad hair day.
You're fine.
Oh, Lord. Let's see. Dolly Vision YouTube. He's live right now. I'm just kind of monitoring Dolly Vision too. See if they got a link up there somewhere. Anyway, I got some cool videos to show y'all on the Nancy Guthrie case. She may have been taken out and sedated according to her her pacemaker. So let's check it out because this could be interesting. Sorry, I'm blowing it already. Okay. Make me a little bigger, like that. Think. Yeah, her pacemaker recorded a lot, and I think sedation is at play.
47 in the morning. No witnesses, no phone, no GPS. But something inside an 84-year-old woman's chest was recording every single second of what happened to her that night. Her own heart beating faster, then irregular. And then in the final minutes before the data goes silent, something that the FBI has been sitting with for over 3 months, something that changes everything about this case.
Chloroform might be, it could be GHB, it could be a rag with, oh, Debbie, you're so sweet. She gifted a membership. Oh my gosh. Chloroform, that's what they used when they took my tonsils out, just a black rag. I remember. I was like 5.
Something that once you understand what it means, you cannot unknow. The device inside Nancy Guthrie's chest logged it all, timestamped it, stored it. And when the FBI finally decoded what that data contains, the full picture, not the surface version, the results were disturbing. Not because of what they do not know, because of what they do. Stay with me. Because by the end of this, you are going to understand exactly what happened to Nancy Guthrie between 1:47 and 2:28 in the morning of February 1st, 2026. And you are going to understand why the most important evidence in this entire investigation has been sitting inside a woman that nobody has found yet. Before we get into the data, I need to talk about Nancy for a moment, because this story gets technical fast. And when it does, it is easy to forget who we are actually talking about. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old. She is the mother of Savannah Guthrie, the longtime anchor of NBC's Today Show, and of Annie Guthrie, who lives approximately 4 miles from Nancy's home in Tucson. Nancy is not a public figure. She never wanted to be. She was a woman who raised her 3 children largely on her own after losing her husband suddenly in 1988, a woman who loved her garden, who attended church, who spent quiet evenings on her porch in the Catalina Foothills neighborhood where she had built her life over 5 decades. She had a pacemaker.
5 decades, 50 years in the same house. She probably paid like 75 grand for that place. It's worth $1 million. $1 million is the payout for whoever did this. Well, if a family member did it. Not accusing anybody. Hey, Salehounds. What's up? Debbie Holcomb. Risa Joe. Love to see you. Let me get my warnings. I am just a commentator. Chat, the mods, and MAB is just all commentary, speculation. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Lily Haley is an awesome chick. She just dropped $5 on us for the MAB Investigates Foundation, 501c3 corporation. It's going to be helping out veterans, people with missing loved ones, all kinds of stuff. And our books are going to be open on the website. So you'll be able to see how much we bring in, what we spend it on, and everything. So we're not taking a dime out of it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to get set up after CrimeCon. Yeah, science teacher could get her hands on that net.
Implanted cardiac device that helped regulate her heart rhythm. She had dinner with Annie on the evening of January 31st. Tomosso drove her home. She went inside, and at 1:47 in the morning, everything changed. Nancy Guthrie has been missing for over 90 days. She is still out there somewhere, and the device inside her chest recorded every second of what happened to her that night. Okay.
So it didn't just record, little things. It recorded everything from the moment her heart spiked. I think she was awake when she saw the burglar through the camera, and she was awake the whole time until they sedated her and put her in the car. She also has an accelerometer in the pacemaker, so you can tell the acceleration of where she's moving to and if she's walking on her own or she's being carried.
So let me start with something that most people do not fully understand. Because the way this story has been covered in the media, in the updates, in the timelines, has been incomplete. And incomplete coverage of this specific piece of evidence has led to real misunderstanding about what we actually know and what it actually means. Most people think of a pacemaker as a heart regulator, something that sends electrical impulses to keep a heart beating in rhythm. And yes, it does that. But that is only half of what modern implanted cardiac devices do. The other half is what makes this case so significant. Modern pacemakers are data recorders. Every heartbeat logged, every arrhythmia logged with a timestamp, every time the heart rate spikes above normal logged, every time it drops below normal logged. Every significant physiological change the body goes through, captured, stored, and in many cases transmitted remotely to a monitoring system. And beyond cardiac data, many modern devices contain accelerometers.
I think the Uber driver was interviewed and I guess cleared because we don't know anything about the Uber driver. We don't know who he is. He hasn't talked to anybody, no interviews, nothing. You'd think that he'd be giving interviews or something and saying, you know, what was Nancy wearing? What was her mood like? What was the small talk on the way to Annie and Tomosso's? All that. Yeah, we can't find where she is from the monitor. You can, but they're being idiots because they're running around with a Bluetooth sniffer when they should be running around with the box that mates with the pacemaker. So the base station is at her house plugged in to the Wi-Fi, and her pacemaker syncs with that box to the cloud. So if they had a trailer with a generator and plugged that box into it and was driving around, they could, if that thing synced, then they know they were close, right?
Sensors that detect physical movement, sensors that can tell the difference between someone walking voluntarily and someone being carried, someone moving under their own power and someone being transported against their will. Nancy's pacemaker had all of this.
So they could tell what was going on through that pacemaker. I didn't know this till I saw this earlier.
And it had something else. It was connected to a home monitoring base unit in her bedroom. A device plugged into the wall that transmitted her cardiac data to the manufacturer's secure cloud platform.
Now that's what they should have had. No, that's not true, Jim. It's more than that. More times than once every 24 hours, it was transmitted to the cloud to that base station. And if they would have took that base station and went out and looked and flew that thing around, then her pacemaker would sync to it. And I don't think they're that smart.
Not once a day, regularly, continuously.
Not once a day, Jim. Continuously, they say.
That cloud data is what the FBI subpoenaed in the first week of February. The manufacturer complied. And what the FBI's forensic cardiac specialists found inside that cloud record is what this entire story is about. Let me walk through it the way investigators walk through a case file. 5 evidence points, in order. Because when you see them laid out as a single sequence, the picture that forms is impossible to look away from. Evidence point 1. 1:47 in the morning, the doorbell camera at Nancy's front door captures a masked figure approaching the property, dressed in black, slim, and athletic build, carrying 2 bags, wearing gloves. At 1:47, that figure disables the camera. The footage goes dark. That is the last external visual record of anything at that property that night. Evidence point 2. At the exact same moment the camera goes dark, 1:47 in the morning, Nancy's pacemaker logs a sudden and dramatic spike in heart rate. Let me stop right there, because this is not a minor detail. This was not a gradual increase, not the slow rise of someone waking up and getting out of bed. This was acute, sudden. Forensic cardiologists who have reviewed this type of cardiac pattern describe it in consistent terms. It is the physiological response of a conscious person who is suddenly and severely frightened. The spike in Nancy's heart rate at 1:47 and the camera going dark at 1:47 are not a coincidence. They are the same moment. Nancy's own heart
Should we pop into Dolly Vision and see what's going on?
confirmed what the camera captured.
Put a one in the chat if we should hit up Dolly Vision while he's live and see what he's doing.
Its final seconds. Something happened at that moment, something that terrified her, and her body recorded it with a precision that no human witness could ever match. Evidence point 3. Here is the full sequence that the doorbell, camera, cloud backup, and the pacemaker data together produced when investigators placed them side by side. 1:46 and 58 seconds in the morning, front door sensor detects motion. 1:47 and 2 seconds, doorbell camera begins recording. 1:47 and 15 seconds, unknown male appears on camera. 1:47 and 18 seconds, pacemaker logs a significant cardiac event.
So that is when she saw him through the camera. Nancy saw that abductor through the camera right then. And that's when her heart spiked because she was scared shitless.
Heart rate spikes, rhythm becomes irregular. 1:47 and 50-second suspect leaves camera frame. Camera is disabled. 2:28 in the morning pacemaker, sync with home monitoring unit, stops. That is a 41-minute window. 41 minutes of complete external darkness.
What the hell were they doing in there for 41 minutes with her scared shitless in an extended state of panic and fight or flight, scared shitless, going through her phone, deleting events on her phone or whatever the hell they were doing for 41 damn minutes? This is kind of new info. Yeah, this is very recent from OJU Crime Stories. I think this is the guy that this voice is familiar. What channel is he on? Like Court TV or something? I don't know.
No camera, no phone, no GPS, but the pacemaker recorded every second of it, every single second. Evidence point 4, 2 bags, gloves, items, consistent with someone who came fully prepared. This was not a spontaneous intrusion. This was not a break-in that escalated. Someone planned this. Someone knew what they needed.
They could have had a fold-up gurney-like thing, like the thumbnail. Could have been like that. News Nation reporter guy, not Brian Enton, but the main guy. Yeah, does sound like him, doesn't it?
Someone knew exactly what they were going to do when they got inside that house. Evidence point 5. The Catalina foothills, quiet residential streets, low overnight traffic, the kind of neighborhood where someone can arrive and leave at 1:47 in the morning without being seen by a single person. That is the case file. Now let us go inside those 41 minutes, because this is where it gets disturbing. Phase 1, Nancy was awake.
She was already awake because he was banging her camera, blowing up her phone with his antics on the porch.
Cardiac spike at 1:47 tells investigators something absolutely critical that has not been said clearly enough in any public reporting on this case.
Debbie, thank you so much, darling. Thank you so much.
Nancy was not asleep when this began.
You're so kind.
Think about that carefully. A person taken from deep sleep does not produce this type of acute physiological response at the precise moment a threat appears outside their front door. The pattern.
Jesse Weber. Cindy Lou got it. Who got the membership? How do I know? Was it Salehounds? Who got it?
In Nancy's data is the pattern of someone conscious, alert, and aware when something triggered that response. Her heart rate spiked sharply, and suddenly, at the exact moment the masked figure disabled the camera outside, she was awake.
So she was awake, looking through that camera. It does sound exactly like Jesse Weber. So she was looking out and saw that guy and freaked. And there was probably another guy coming in the back door that were probably propped open or unlocked or whatever from whoever.
She was conscious and she knew something was wrong. That detail matters enormously because it means Nancy experienced the beginning of this. She was present. Her pacemaker recorded that.
It's definitely Jesse's voice.
Presence in the form of a cardiac signature that cannot be faked, cannot be altered after the fact, and cannot be explained away. Her own heart confirmed she was there. She was conscious and she was terrified. Phase 2, sustained fear. Here is where the data becomes more disturbing. The heart rate spike at 1:47 does not come back down. In a normal startle response, someone hears a loud noise, sees something unexpected, the heart rate spikes and then returns to baseline within a few minutes. That is standard physiology. That is not what happened here. Nancy's heart rate.
Strawberry Nani, you're probably right. She probably was just kicking back, watching for freaking wildlife when this dickhead shows up at the front door.
Stayed elevated. The
great goat. Where's the old gas passer at?
Rhythm shows irregularities that forensic cardiologists associate with extreme and sustained emotional distress, not a clinical emergency.
Well, you just wait, Rachel. It comes down, just like sedation.
But not calm, not safe. The sustained elevation tells investigators one thing with complete clarity. Whatever triggered that spike at 1:47 did not go away. It continued. It persisted. Nancy's body was in a sustained state of acute fear for an extended period of time.
Extended fear for an extended period of time. And then something very strange happens.
This is not a woman who heard a noise, looked around, found nothing, and went back to sleep. This is a woman who is in the presence of a threat that did not leave. Phase 3, she was being moved. Approximately 15 to 20 minutes into the 41-minute window, the data changes again. And this is the finding that investigators have been most careful about discussing publicly. Nancy's pacemaker contained an accelerometer.
Get that? An accelerometer. It contained a device that could tell. The pacemaker itself had an accelerometer in it. If it's not Jesse Weber, I'm at a loss too, Sikorsky, because that sounds exactly like Jesse Weber. If the accelerometer that's in the pacemaker can tell how she's moving, if she's walking on her own, if she's being carried, etc.
A sensor that measures physical movement and its specific characteristics. When a person is walking, moving under their own power, the accelerometer records a specific pattern: rhythmic, voluntary, self-directed. When a person is being carried, when their body is being moved by someone else, the pattern is different. It is passive. The movement is not self-generated. It does not come from the person whose chest contains the device. The accelerometer data from this phase of the 41-minute window shows passive movement, not
passive movement, which means she's not walking herself.
Not Nancy walking through her house, not Nancy moving to a different room under her own power, Nancy being transported.
OJU Crime Stories, 12.1 thousand subscribers. See how many videos they got. 14 videos, so it's brand new. Is it some kind of knockoff? And that's like, whatever. I mean, it's crazy. Now I got to find it again. If I can just go back, right?
The movement is not self-generated. It does not come from the person whose chest contains the device. The accelerometer data from this phase of the 41-minute window shows passive movement, not Nancy walking through her house, not Nancy moving to a different room under her own power.
If that's AI Jesse Weber, they're doing a hell of a good job. I should take that voice and use it. It's got one of those voices you remember, just like Anton. So I think she was brought home and then taken. Yes. You bet it's AI. It's damn good AI. I mean, I can usually catch AI, and this don't sound like AI. Let me listen more carefully.
Power, Nancy being transported, being carried, being moved by someone else. And the duration and character of that movement, the rhythm of it, the sustained and continuous nature of it is.
See the way his inflection is? This is not AI.
It's consistent with one specific scenario: being placed in a vehicle and driven away.
I think he started a new channel, or somebody started a new channel, and they're using his voice. I look strong with the concrete. Making my own concrete for like pennies a bag.
Let me stop right there. I need you to understand what that means. The accelerometer inside Nancy Guthrie's chest recorded the moment she was put into a vehicle, not a camera, not a witness. The device implanted in her own body captured the moment she was taken from her home.
You get that? That's crazy. It had an accelerometer in it, which means they can tell how far she was carried, when she started being carried, when she was set down in a car, etc.
That data is sitting in an FBI evidence file right now. Phase 4, the most disturbing finding in this entire case. In the final 10 to 15 minutes before the sync stops at 2:28, the data shows something that the FBI's for.
That's true, Jamie, but I've never heard it with the inflection like this, like it sounds natural. You got gifted by Debbie Peekaboo, sweet.
Forensic cardiac team has described as the most clinically significant finding in the entire analysis. The heart rate, which had been elevated throughout most of the 41-minute window, begins to change in a very specific way. The natural beat-to-beat variation that a conscious person's heart maintains, what cardiologists call heart rate variability, begins to decrease significantly. Decreased heart rate variability in this context has a precise clinical meaning.
It means you're being sedated. Someone sedated her.
It is the pattern a heart shows when the central nervous system's normal regulatory influence on cardiac function is being suppressed, when consciousness is being altered.
Hey, Jamie, I did all the patents on Gmail. I got my own name at gmail.com before Gmail was even a thing. I got grilled by like 4 attorneys from Google on the phone to see if they wanted to work with us, our patent company. And my dad wasn't there, so I just winged it. And they used us for a lot of stuff.
When someone has been administered a substance that is affecting their awareness, the clinical language for what the pacemaker data shows in those final minutes is pharmacological sedation.
Pharmacological sedation. That means either intravenous sedation or through ingestion or inhalation. You've got mail. That's AOL.
A drug-induced alteration of consciousness. Someone gave Nancy Guthrie a sedative.
Someone gave her a sedative.
Possibly injected, possibly administered by inhalation, but something was given to an 84-year-old woman in those final minutes before her pacemaker lost contact with the monitoring unit.
That's true, cell hounds, but hers had an accelerometer in it which records movement. So this is crazy.
Sitting on her bedroom nightstand, and that finding, that single finding, changes the entire profile of whoever is responsible for this. You do not accidentally have medical grade sedatives on your person.
Who could get medical grade sedatives? Propofol, yes. Ketamine, a mixture of ketamine and something else. I'll probably, this video ain't going to be monetized now because I said that. GHB, nightcap, spiked nightcap, oh Greco. Not bad thinking.
You plan for them, you acquire them, you bring them with deliberate and specific intent.
So whoever did this had the authority to get pharmaceuticals. And there should be a record of that. Yeah, I think we know who.
The sedation finding tells investigators 3 things that are investigatively transformative. First, this was premeditated, not a crime of opportunity, not a break-in that escalated into something worse. Someone planned this carefully enough to obtain a controlled substance, transport it to a residential address in the Catalina foothills, and administer it under pressure in the back of a vehicle in the middle of the night. That level of operational
Materhead, done it.
planning does not happen without significant time, resources, and intent. Second, whoever did this had access. Medical-grade sedating compounds that...
Medical grade sedating compounds. Who stands to gain? I can only think of 2 people financially that would stand to gain. The only other alternative is revenge for something Savannah did back in September of 2019. Could be fent.
produce this type of rapid onset cardiac signature are not available at any pharmacy counter. They require a procurement trail, a prescription history,
or black market,
a hospital or clinical connection, or a black market source that itself leaves a traceable trail. Either way, there is a path, and the FBI is following it right now. Third, the FBI knows exactly what compound to look for.
Uh-oh. Narrowed it down based on the heart rate.
The specific cardiac signature of the sedation pattern visible in the data narrows the range of substances that could have produced it. Narrowing the compound narrows the list of people who could have obtained it. And narrowing that list brings investigators significantly closer to a name.
Who was teaching CSI crap to students? DNA, medical stuff. Yeah, I'll get my video struck if you put fent or any of that in the chat. So try not to do that.
Now let me correct something, because this has been misreported and it needs to be addressed clearly. At 2:28 in the morning, the sync between Nancy...
Yeah, you're right, Sikorsky. This is done way too well. I can't, and they cover more than Nancy. They're covering more than one case, so I think it's real.
Nancy's pacemaker and her home monitoring unit stopped. And for weeks, multiple news outlets reported that Nancy's pacemaker stopped at 228, that Nancy's heart stopped at 228.
Wrong.
That is not what happened. The sync stopped. The wireless Bluetooth connection between the pacemaker and the base unit in her bedroom was broken. The most likely explanation, based on the accelerometer data showing sustained vehicle movement, is that Nancy was in a vehicle that had traveled far enough from her home that the monitoring unit could no longer reach pacemaker's signal, or someone disabled the base unit directly. Either way, the pacemaker itself did not stop. Nancy's heart did not stop. The data at 228 shows a sedated but functioning heart, not cardiac arrest, not death. Nancy Guthrie was almost certainly alive at 2:28 in the morning of February.
I think they went, hey, Bubby, 71, what's up? Good to see you, dear.
February 1st, 2026. Her pacemaker has 6 to 7 years of battery life remaining. It has been running continuously since the night she disappeared, every day, every hour, every minute. The internal memory of that device holds a complete physiological record of everything Nancy has experienced since 2:28 on February 1st, every moment of fear, every moment of rest. The whole truth of those 90 plus days is stored inside a device the size of a small matchbox inside an 84-year-old woman who deserves to be home. The only way to read that data is to find her. Now, let me tell you about the Bluetooth detection effort.
Now, this is where it gets silly because they're flying a damn helicopter trying to get a Bluetooth signal. It's like trying to find one grain of sand in a whole beach. Would have been better to bring the base station, plug that in, fly that around until it synced. Then they might be able to find her. Or drive it around, take the same route that you think they might have taken into Mexico, I would suggest.
Because this piece of the investigation almost never gets a full explanation. Nancy's pacemaker broadcasts a low-power Bluetooth signal approximately every 2 to 3 minutes when it is near a compatible monitoring unit or clinical device. The range of that signal, under ideal conditions, is approximately 15 to 30 feet. That is a short distance. To detect that signal, investigators need to be in the right geographic area, and within that short range of Nancy's physical location, that is the challenge. But the accelerometer data gave investigators a critical constraint to work from. The vehicle movement pattern captured before the sync stopped at 2:28 suggests that at the moment the connection broke, Nancy had been traveling for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes of travel south of Tucson.
South of Tucson. Hear that? South. What's south of Tucson? Mexico.
Places a vehicle anywhere from 12 to 25 miles from her home. That geographic radius, 12 to 25 miles in all directions from the Catalina foothills, became the primary search zone for the Bluetooth detection effort. The FBI deployed devices called signal sniffers, tools that use an amplifier and a directional antenna to detect specific Bluetooth signals and lock on to the unique identifier of a specific device. In this case, Nancy's pacemaker's unique MAC address. That signal sniffer was mounted on a helicopter flying slowly at low altitude over the search corridor. When you overlay that 12 to 25 mile radius on a map, the highway corridor heading south toward Rio Rico and the Mexican border falls directly within it. Investigators know that it is not a coincidence.
Maybe that's why they nabbed Carlos near Rio Rico.
It is a constraint derived from the data inside Nancy Guthrie's own chest. Now, let me address the TMZ notes directly, because the pacemaker data does something very specific to those claims. On April 6th, 65 days into this investigation, someone sent 2 notes to TMZ. The first claimed Nancy was dead.
I thought the first one said that time was of the essence, and the second one said that time is no longer of the essence. That's the way I heard it the first time.
The second, sent the same morning from the same person, claimed they had seen her alive in Sonora, Mexico. 2 notes, same sender, same morning, directly contradicting each other. Retired FBI agents called the notes fraudulent immediately. But here is what makes them even less credible than most people realize.
I believe she could have been cremated too. The perp knows some dodgy crematorium in Mexico. Not sure how they dispose of the pacemaker though. They take it out and then smash it up. Well, it wouldn't make it through an incinerator, that's for damn sure. Airlifted, could be.
The pacemaker data at 228 does not show cardiac arrest. It does not show the device entering a post-mortem mode. It shows a functioning, sedated, beating heart at the last moment of recorded data. Whoever wrote that note claiming Nancy was dead was not working from any knowledge of what the pacemaker actually recorded. They do not have access to the FBI's forensic cardiac analysis. They were guessing, and their guess directly contradicts the most medically precise evidence in
Oh, I could cut it out of her with a box cutter. Be easy.
this entire case. Now the DNA, because this connects to the pacemaker story.
Wasn't there a plane that left that morning? Something suspicious about a plane that left that morning? I can't remember, but I heard that.
In a way that most coverage has not fully explained. The FBI confirmed that DNA evidence from Nancy's home was sent to the laboratory at Quantico, Virginia. Specifically, a rootless hair sample and biological material recovered from a bed sheet at the scene. Rootless hair is notoriously difficult to analyze.
That'd be a good background right there. You clip that. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna clip this little picture here. Got it. What?
Using traditional DNA methods. But the FBI partnered with Astrea Forensics, a California-based laboratory that specializes in low copy number DNA and touch DNA analysis.
So this specialized place in California, green scheme is nice, huh? It doesn't look like I'm all pixelated and shit. I love it.
And forensic genetic genealogist C.C. Moore is involved in the analysis. C.C. Moore has personally broken cases that sat cold for decades using nothing more than degraded biological material. A CODIS search, the National...
That's right, the old gray goat. Yeah, Sikorsky, I agree. You're right, Peekaboo.
National Criminal DNA Database already came back negative. Whoever left biological material at the scene has no prior criminal history, no arrests, no convictions, a completely clean record.
So I wonder who else has a completely clean record that lives near Nancy and that maybe was the last person that saw her. Speculating, not accusing anybody.
That eliminates career criminals and random drifters entirely. It describes someone living what appears, on the surface, to be a completely ordinary life. Someone unremarkable. Someone whose name would not trigger any alarm in any database, someone who could attend family dinners, someone who could drive an elderly woman home at night. Now let me address the mistakes, because this case deserves that level of honesty. The DNA routing confusion cost weeks, sending evidence to a state-level lab in Florida.
Sending nanos, sending it to Florida, threw this investigation off by at least a month or two.
Instead of directly to Quantico, when FBI Director Kash Patel had a fixed-wing aircraft on the ground ready to move it that same night, delayed the most sophisticated forensic analysis available. In a missing person case involving an 84-year-old woman, weeks are not an acceptable cost. The jurisdictional friction between the Pima County Sheriff's Office and the FBI created confusion at the exact moment when clarity mattered most. A sitting county official publicly accused Sheriff Nanos of allowing a personal grudge against the FBI to interfere with a federal investigation. That accusation has not been retracted. Public disclosure of specific details about the Bluetooth detection effort potentially communicated to whoever is holding Nancy exactly what precautions to take.
They shouldn't even have talked about that Bluetooth sniffer situation. That should not have been let out at all, because that would have just told the person to get rid of it.
Every public statement about investigative direction is simultaneously a message to the people responsible. And in this case, that message may have been received. Each of those mistakes is understandable in isolation. Together, they form the picture of a case that should have moved faster than it has. Let me tell you where things stand right now. The DNA is at Quantico. CC Moore and Estrella Forensics are processing it through probabilistic genotyping and forensic genetic genealogy. That technology has never permanently failed when applied to quality biological evidence.
Quality biological evidence. One hair, rootless, will give you the mitochondrial DNA of the mother's side. Biological material, however, will give you both sides.
When it finds something, it matters. It holds up in court. It produces convictions. The Bluetooth detection sweeps are continuing in the 12 to 25 mile radius south of the Catalina foothills.
Those aren't going to do anything. That's stupid.
The procurement trail for the sedating compound identified in the pacemaker's cardiac signature is an active investigative thread. Every compound eliminated narrows the list. Every source ruled out brings the investigation closer. And the person who planned this, the person who obtained the sedatives, who had a vehicle waiting, who knew the camera system, who knew the neighborhood,
who had the camera system installed, likely, who managed her security, likely, who were responsible for her security, who took care of her, who took such good care of her. The great manifester and the lady with powers.
Who knew enough about Nancy's life to execute this level of operation against her, is the central target of this entire federal investigation. Three of the most credentialed criminal profilers
Ann Burgess right there.
in the country, Dr.
Gary Bricado and Ann Burgess.
Ann Burgess, whose work with the FBI inspired the Netflix series Mindhunter, Dr. Gary Bricado of Boston College, and criminologist Dr. Casey Jordan all reached the same conclusion independently. The figure we saw at the door was not running this operation. He was the hired hand.
Hired hand. There's a puppet master. Who is the puppet master?
The underling.
Put a one in the chat if you think Materhead had anything to do with it.
Sent to the front while someone else, someone with more to gain, someone with a connection to Nancy or her family, someone who planned every detail, including the sedatives, stayed completely invisible. And if that person has already eliminated the figure at the door to close the loop and protect themselves, then what we are dealing with is someone who planned a murder as part of their exit strategy before the operation even began. FBI Director Kash Patel used the word nefarious. He said if they find
See a lot of ones.
nefarious conduct or conspiracy, they will make the appropriate arrests. The FBI does not use that word without reason. I want to close with something that I keep coming back to. That pacemaker inside Nancy Guthrie's chest has been running continuously since the night she disappeared. Every day, every hour,
Unless it's been destroyed.
every minute. It cannot transmit that data anymore. The home monitoring unit, it
can transmit the data if the base station is brought near it. So you take that base station from her house in her room, plug it into a generator in a trailer, and you drive that to suspected locations to see if it hooks up to anything, right? That's what I do.
unsynced with is sitting in an empty bedroom in Tucson, Arizona. But the internal memory of that device holds a complete physiological diary of everything Nancy has experienced since 2/28 on February 1st. Every moment of fear, every moment of calm, every spike, every settling. The whole truth of those 90 plus days is stored inside a device the size of a small matchbox inside a woman who raised her children alone, who tended her garden, who attended church, who had dinner with her daughter and went home. The pacemaker data gave investigators the timeline. It told them she was awake. It told them she was terrified. It told them she was carried. It told them she was sedated.
Sedated. I never knew that until today, if this is true.
It told them her heart was still beating at 2:28 in the morning. The DNA at Quantico may give them the name. And the full story, every moment since that last data point, is still inside Nancy, waiting. The only way to read it is to find her. If you have any information about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, contact the Pima County Sheriff's Department at 520-351-4900. You can also contact the FBI directly. The reward stands at $1,200,000. Her heart is still beating, and the device inside her chest is still keeping count. Stay with us. I will talk to you soon. 1:47 in the morning.
Whoops. All right. That's crazy, huh? How about Mom it's just okay. Just speculating, ma'am. How about the moms in it too, just to collect, life insurance and hiding out? Took off the pacemaker. Mom's was alive still. Just saying, my opinion. You know what? My gut tells me that she's still alive, and this is all a psyop, and that Nanos is screwing this up intentionally. And they didn't search because she's not lost. There was a danger of her being abducted, so they hid her out instead. That's one of my theories, one of my stronger theories, Dread Lover. That was very informative. This next one is really cool too, because you know what Wi-Fi can do? Wi-Fi can tell who's in your house, what your furniture layout is, who's walking through your house, how many people are in your house, where you're going, and what the density of the things in your house are based on the signal that the Wi-Fi has. None of them searched. Why is that? Because you don't search for what's not missing. That's just, in Sebastian Rogers' case, it's the same way. Nobody searched because they already knew where he was, in my opinion. Speculation. But check this one out. This is really cool. So you got 2 gigahertz. Mine has 2 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz. So I can change between 2 and 5. I like 2 better because it's not as strong. Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's a duck. Oh, fucked up with that, didn't I? Sorry for my language. Let's start that over. Still not used to this. Come on, mouse. My mouse won't move past this damn thing. What the hell is wrong with you? All right. My mouse is giving me problems. Come on, damn it. What are you doing? I don't want to share my email. I want to share the damn video. This is fucking freaking me out. Ah! Come on, man.
Your Wi-Fi router can already detect when somebody walks through your home. Not with a camera, not with a sensor you bought, just the Wi-Fi signal bouncing off your body. All right, so here's how this works. Your Wi-Fi router is constantly sending out radio waves at about 5 gigahertz. These waves, of course, bounce off of everything. I'm talking your walls, your furniture, and of course your body. And when you move through your home, those reflections change in ways that are really, really specific to what moved and how it moved. Your router already tracks something called channel state information, or CSI. It's basically how the router...
CSI. for Wi-Fi. Who'd have thought that?
Optimizes the signal between itself and all your devices. But CSI also encodes the shape and movement of everything between the router and your devices. And of course, that includes you. Xfinity figured this out. They shipped this feature called Wi-Fi Motion to every customer with one of the newer gateways. This is at no extra cost. You don't need any extra hardware. Your existing network essentially becomes a motion sensor. And of course, they market it as a smart home feature. I've got this working where when I walk into a room, I can automatically turn the lights on. Now, if I pull apart the marketing branding, the real term for this in the industry is called presence detection.
Presence detection. I invented something called proximal advertising back when I was inventing. So they could advertise to you based on where you were and which way you were going. So if you were in the mall and you were walking in front of a certain store, they could push advertisements to your phone or your tablet or whatever and give you a deal, like, because you're there right now. So that one was a pretty big one. Got a lot of money for that one. Supposedly there's an ant security person inside Annie and Tomosso's home. Why not? Yeah, I'll take calls. Phone line's open. Let me put the thing up there. Banners. Where is it? There it is. Hello, MAB Investigates. What sounds low? Hold on. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It's so low, it's hard. I'm trying to see if it's me or. Hold on, let me.
Could be me.
Yeah, it's so low. I got out of my ear now.
Can you guys? Yeah, I shared the screen just now. Can you guys hear me? Let me see. Hello. Hello.
I could barely hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
That sounds a little better.
Hello.
Yeah, it's too low, brother.
Hello.
I'll try you again
Hello.
later or something.
Hello.
It's very, huh?
Hello. Should be good now.
Nope.
Good now. Hello.
It's very low, but maybe we can make it work. I'm not sure.
I can hear you.
Okay. Are you doing the Nancy Guthrie? I just jumped on from Dolly's,
Okay.
and I have this thing where I'm trying to figure out what that Porsche guy was doing.
Yeah.
I might have left you even a message, or I left somebody a message, but I'm thinking he was a cover-up dude. I'm thinking he put that flowers in front of that thing because he was pouring blood on the mat.
Could be.
I don't think he. Yeah, I don't think he went in.
If they had the, I'm okay. I know my sound is great on this end. If they had the ability to administer sedatives, then they surely could have drawn some blood and staged that front porch.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And then my other thought is, I think they screwed this case up so damn bad. I think they know who did it. I think they know who, but they screwed this up so bad that they're trying to build the case.
Right.
That's why
They don't have the, well, since they screw up the chain of custody of the evidence, that they're seeing if they can build a case that'll pass a jury right now. They probably know who did it.
Exactly.
They don't
Yep.
have
Yep.
the evidence strong enough to prosecute yet. They think it's going to
Right.
get tossed out, just like Red Dog just said.
Well, I just got here. I didn't hear it, but that's what I'm thinking too. Yep. 100%. How many people do you think was in it?
I think there was at least 3, possibly 4.
Yeah, I could agree. You think somebody was already on the inside? This guy was just there to stage it, or what Dolly says is it was a getaway driver, but I still don't get the getaway driver part you keep talking about.
Well, I think there was a puppet master who set it all up and got the people to do it. So somebody possibly unlocked those back doors.
Right.
And then later on, when another 2 guys came, one of them went in the back door and the other one did the show in the front. And then
Right. Yep.
off, and they also busted the spotlights out and took the other cameras.
Okay. Now, what do you think? What, as far as we know, nothing was stolen.
As far as we know,
people-
nothing was stolen, but there could have been something that she had that Savannah gave her that was valuable, maybe not valuable in the way we think valuable, maybe some information that she was keeping for just in case reasons that could have been taken.
Right. So that leads me to the next point. To me, a family would know why this occurred. Somebody in that family knows why.
I think so.
You know what? I don't know if it's Savannah or whoever.
Yeah, exactly. Astrology for success.
Help them.
Astrology for success.
Yep.
Kind of thinking along the same lines I am.
Yeah. I tried to follow it since the beginning. I followed you. I followed Dolly. I followed a few others, and just try to turn into a true crime junkie myself. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's addictive.
It is. Well, thanks for calling, brother.
Oh, yes, sir. I'll talk to you again, man.
All right, man.
Have a good night.
You too. Take care. There you go. Yeah. Went to Nancy's, unlocked the doors. His wife took the Uber because T was out. But don't you think when T dropped her off that he could have? Right. MAB Investigates.
Hey, ma'am.
Who am I talking to? Where are you calling from?
This is Jay from Georgia.
Jay from Georgia. How you doing tonight?
Hey, you know what? The guy that was just on, it's not just his phone, it's my phone too.
Really?
Like when I'm on video watching you, I can hear you perfectly clear, but on the phone you're really low. But we'll work with what we got.
Let's try to fix it. Settings.
And I've got my volume turned all the way up.
I have never gone into settings in here. I'm just wondering if there's a volume control. I don't see one. Let me look at my volume on StreamYard.
Okay.
Oof. My damn mouse is pissing me off.
You're gonna be on scratch that table to hell and back.
All right. Hold on. My freaking mouse would go that way. Oh my God. This is too crazy. You can see if a piece of paper works. This is ridiculous.
Take your time.
All right, I slapped it around a little bit. Now it's working. Can you hear me now?
Say something again.
Something again.
Okay, we're perfect now.
All right.
Okay, let's touch on Dr. Oz first. That is who he was playing, correct?
Dr. What?
What was that guy's name that was talking about the pacemaker? What, that was Dr. Oz?
No, I think that was Jesse Weber, that
Okay.
the voice
So
that
he hit on some good points in that video.
he did.
Yes, and then so I'm gonna bounce around for just a minute. A few years ago, I had something called a port because I was a cancer patient.
Yeah, you have an open port for your medication.
Right. So it would be real simple to cut it out, like you said, with a box cutter. Same with the pacemaker. It'd be very simple to take out with no problem.
Yeah.
And then, do you remember back in the day when the electric company had to come out to your house and check the thing outside? You know,
Meter?
I can't think of the utility thing outside that used to spin around.
Yeah, they read the meter, and that's how they charge you.
Yeah, the meter. And so, back in the day, we used to go back there and roll it back. You know how we used to do some bootleg crap back in the day.
Yeah.
But then they went digital. So I'll tell you a quick little story real quick. One day I got a real high electricity bill and I was trying to get out of paying it.
Yeah.
So I called the electric company and I was like, hey, there's no way the electric bill can be this high. I was out of town for 2 weeks. And they're like, well, ma'am, we see that the living room TV came on at such and such time. It was on for such much amount of hours. The front bedroom TV and the lights came on. They know. When they went digital, they know. So there was no getting out of that bill.
Right.
Now, do you remember when the FBI went to the pawn shops map?
Yeah, or the gun shops.
Right, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Well, remember they had a list of names
Yes.
on that?
Yes.
Okay. One of those names was a woman from Iran
Avenue.
that used to stay in the pool house from time to time, but she owns several houses right there in Nancy's neighborhood, right?
Lady's name is Fatima Avenue.
Yeah. And so she was in the medical field. She made her own stuff.
All of her patents pulled up right here.
Right, and one of them was pacemakers.
Really?
Yes, and one of them was also a DNA lamp. She had some type of lamp.
That would kill DNA.
I guess you could use it to get rid of DNA or whatever.
Yeah.
So I sent you a video to our personal messages that me and you have together.
Okay.
To check into later on. This is my suspicion. I believe it was 2 males and one female. And possibly that female could have been that lady. And let's just say, for example, that she was stashing some of her medical equipment at Nancy's house.
Or was she
and
Nancy to test some of her equipment? Keisha! What's up?
Yeah, so
my mouse is.
What if they were in there for 41 minutes looking for the medical equipment?
Spent 41 minutes looking for the medical equipment.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I don't know why they would be looking for the medical equipment or what advantage that would have. Say
it again, Mab. I didn't.
Am I on?
I didn't hear what you said.
Am I on in your background? I can hear myself.
So you don't think Nancy would have been stashing the stuff at her house?
No, I don't think it's about medical equipment.
Okay, well, why do you think that lady's name would be on the list?
From the gun stores,
Yes.
because she was in that casita. She stayed in there.
Okay, and then my last thing. Remember the house that they went to, and there was supposedly 2 FBI agents, and one of the FBI agents, the print was really, really small, like a hoodie you could have got from New York or something.
Chat, mellow out, Chargers and Rachel. Don't be disrespecting each other. I'll kick your asses both out of here.
Sorry.
All right, go ahead.
But do you remember that house that the helicopter picked up on with the pacemakers in the garage, and supposedly 2 FBI agents went to that house, and one had on an FBI hoodie or whatever that was in small print?
No, I don't.
Yeah, the lady had called and asked, was that really the FBI at her house? And it took them a little while, but somebody did call her and say, yeah, it was the FBI.
Yeah, I remember that.
But it was the helicopter that picked up on that house.
How do you know that?
When they were flying low, supposedly trying to find Pacemaker.
I thought they were just going through the houses in the neighborhood.
Yeah, maybe it was somebody making up something then.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
I appreciate it, but I think we probably got misinformed.
But I think you're on the right path. But I think it's some more people we need to start looking at. We need to look who that lady is affiliated with, if she has kids or anything.
See ya, Chargy. Fuck. You're out. All right, I had to kick somebody. Go ahead.
I said, I think you're on the right path. You're doing a great job. And we need to look into that lady a little bit more and see who else she's affiliated with and see if she has any kids or anything in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, darling. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. I'll get back in chat.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. All right. Let's get out of settings. So we're back here. Should we jump over and I'm in the backstage at Dolly's. I don't see 857. Oh, I'm way behind. Oh, I see. It's got 857 up there now. All right. Why does it do that? Anyway, we're doing our show. Fatima Abenusi. So when you go to the patent office, you cannot use aliases. So let me see. This damn thing. My mouse has started to work after I slammed it on the desk. It's charged to 88%. So I see her inventions right here. I'll share it with you. Check this out. I'm going to share you guys. Right here. Google Patents. Chrome tab, Google Patents, right there. Fatima Abenusi. This is her right here. So I could make the whole thing bigger. Let me see if I can do that. See that? These are the inventions that she has. Micromode, microcurrent stimulus system with safety circuitry coupled to a power supply. Configured to generate electric waveform impedance measure electrical imports. Let's look at this patent. It's a microcurrent device with a power supply, 2 electrodes, configured to measure electrical impedance of one or more biological tissues between one or more electrodes. The first safety circuit monitors the current flow through one or more components of the microcurrent stimulation device. It interrupts electric flow if the current flow through one or more components is above predetermined levels. The second safety circuit interrupts electric current flow through one or more components if a firmware failure occurs. So, could that be used in a pacemaker? Yeah, could. Let's look at the drawings. One of them is this head, right? So they're talking about, this is the abstract and these are the drawings. Okay, so that's one. It's an electronics module for biologics. So that could be used in a pacemaker, yes. Let's look at the next one. Hybrid far UVC invisible lamp. This is a lamp that they're saying is supposed to kill DNA. Let's see. Solid state lamp includes the first plurality, which is one or more solid state emitters that can emit light at a visible wavelengths, and a second plurality of solid state emitters that emit a light at safe ultraviolet wavelength, wherein the second plurality of solid state emitters emit light at least when the first plurality of solid state emitters emit light. That means it turns on when the other light turns on. And so what does it do? When you ever look at a patent, you've got to look at the claims. The claims are what states what the ownership is, and this is claim 1 right here. Solid state lamp comprising first plurality of light emitting wavelength, second emit ultraviolet. Solid state lamp equivalent plurality continuously. Solid state emitters continue to emit light even when this lamp is turned off. Backup power supply. Predetermined sufficient to provide desired level of hygiene for an ambient environment. So hygienic, so killing unhygienic pathogens probably, this light. An intensity of light emitted from the second plurality of light's predetermined intensity that's sufficient to provide a desired level of hygiene. Okay, that's not DNA. Wherein the circuitry determines the intensity of light emitted from the second output warning. These are dependent claims. So when you got a claim that says the solid state clamp of claim 7, then it's connected to 7 and 6. So all 3 of these are connected in claim 8. So you have independent claims and dependent claims. This is a dependent claim. First claim is always independent. Right, so I want you to understand how claims work. First is independent. The second one includes the first one. The third one includes the second one and the first one. The fourth one only includes the first one, because it says of claim 1. The fifth one includes 4 and 1. All right, so that's how it works when you look at claims. And the breadth of the claims is what the value of the patent is. Hygiene. Okay, let me get back down here. Different colors of light, just continuously. further provides a photodetector to detect intensity of light. For the second, display of light, reflective surface. Let's see if it has any DNA killing shit in here. I can scan these and know exactly what it says. I used to do this for a living for 20 years, so. Okay. 17 is independent. Providing hygiene, a method of providing hygienic conditions and illuminating a region with solid state lamp method. Emitting a first plurality of solid state emitters. Emitting a second plurality of solid state emitters. An ultraviolet wavelength. So that's it. No DNA shit in that patent. All right, so the lamp one is not, doesn't have anything to do with DNA. Let's look at the next one. You're not going to find this on any other channel because nobody understands this shit like I do. Modular power supply. Look at the abstract real quick. Plurality of networks, encapsulated substantial and non-electric conductive materials produced interior to outer surface and encasement region. Outer surface of at least one encapsulated network is complementary to, adjacent to, and in physical contact with one outer surface and one other encapsulated networks. Also disclosed the method for constructing the system and a preferred embodiment of the system is toroidally shaped power supply whose modular structure facilitates ease of testing and assembly, affords considerable space savings, and it substantially reduces manufacturing waste costs, eliminates power source of circuit failure. All right, that ain't got really nothing to do with much, but the power supply. Yeah. Voltage multiplier. Okay, I don't see this being in the body. So that's a no-go. Cleaning apparatus. Vaporized cleaning agent, foam, an upper vapor layer. Holding the cleaning agent, two vapors, heat pumps, low temperature, vapors released. Shunting devices are coupled behind temperature of the heat pumps. The bottom portion of the container transfer heat from the upper portion to the lower portion. Okay, this is a cleaning apparatus with a vapor containment for vaporizing a cleaning liquid agent. This could probably kill DNA if you had the right chemicals in it, but that's not a light. So that's a cleaning situation. So that's not much of anything. Component carrier. A component carrier for curved surfaces. Da-da-da-da-da. It's nothing. Electronics and packaging for electronics. So that's nothing big. I'm interested in this body energy balance thing right here. using Earth's magnetic field. Body energy balance assembly employing Earth's magnetic field and associated methods. An assembly includes a magnet, a pouch into which the magnet is provided, and sand in the pouch that embeds the magnet. The assembly is to be used in an open palm with the north-south poles of the magnet being parallel to the arteries in the open palm and positioning the open palm parallel to the ground. The pouch may be integrated into a wearable hand covering that properly aligns with the magnet in the palm of the user when worn. So this is just a magnet in a glove, basically. And it's supposed to do something with the arteries. Aluminum, potassium, silicon, calcium, titanium, iron, chromium, manganese, cobalt, nickel, and zinc. Let's see what it does. Does it do anything to your arteries? Let's see. What does it do? You say what it is, but what does it do? Therapeutic method. Okay, lack of movement, poor nutrition is need for diets to help the body create its own needed supplements. Supplements are designed to create a level of energy in the body, although the design is simple, use the same height, body, everything creates very personalized envelope of energy specific person. So apparently this magnet in your hand helps your own body create stuff, supplements that you need. In sand, ocean sands wrapped in a pouch. Certainly understand. In tune with the Earth's magnetic field. That would be like ley lines. So it's basically a magnet in a damn glove. And that was it. Now, K&M Electronics Inc. is 50% owners of these patents. Tama Research Corporation is 16.6% owner. Mana Clinical LLC 16.6%. And Tama Research Corp 16.6%. So K&M Electronics owns half of it, and the three other people own a third of one half. But you can also search by assignees. Let's see what. So three of these are associated with that assignee. The first one. The second one, there's only two of them. And the third one is probably two of them. Oh, none. K&M Electronics is the same three. So K&M Electronics is just spelled two different ways. Tama Research is 2. And Mana Clinical 1, the magnet one. So that was it, right? Yeah, so these companies she owns parts of. These are the 6 patents. That's it for the inventions, guys. That is, it doesn't relate to Nancy in any way. I just heard people talk about inventions that she owned that killed, a light that kills DNA. No, it's not. It doesn't kill DNA. I gotta go make me another soda. I'm going to play this video while I run and do that. This is the one about how this is the one about hello, MAB Investigates. Hold on now, I gotta share the screen so I can hear you, or they can hear you.
Okay.
All right, done. Yeah.
Okay. I said, thank you for looking into that. And now we can say one channel made something up about a DNA lamp. But I do have
Now
a question.
that lamp is used in hygiene. It can kill stuff that has DNA in it, like bacteria or whatever. It's a hygienic lamp, so it's good for your hygiene. So if you're getting funky, it'll kill the funk, which has DNA in it. So and technically, it does kill DNA of the stuff that's non-hygienic, but it's nothing to do with, maybe, I don't know if it kills blood DNA. I doubt it, but
Now, what do you think about that glove? Because on that guy that you had talking on video first, he was saying that he believes that Nancy was sedated. Now, that glove that has a magnet, do you think it's strong enough to stop the pacemaker or no?
No, that glove is like supposed to help your body make its own supplements out of the like sand that's in it. It has a magnet, and then you put like ocean sand in it, and it's supposed to make like micronutrients, help you make micronutrients because you're sedentary and you don't get enough exercise or whatever.
Gotcha. And I wanted to say, shout out to Red Dog for keeping me in check because there's some stuff I forgot to tell you, Mab.
All right.
The woman was having the medical equipment sent to Nancy's house.
Yeah.
That was one part.
Yes. She shared.
And then the other part is, do you think they could have been doing, like, using Nancy as a guinea pig?
Yeah. They could have.
Yeah, I wanted to know that too. And it was something else.
Testing their medical devices on her.
The other question is, do you think that Nancy could have been paying into all those different websites you checked on, or, and maybe she quit and that's why they came after her?
Oh, you maybe invested in some of her shit?
Right.
I doubt it, but I don't know that to be a fact. She may have been an investor in one of those companies. I have to look at those companies and see what they actually do, if they have any money, if they make money, whatever. I'd have to check the Secretary of State for that.
That's interesting. And shout out to Red Dog. Thank you for putting that stuff in the chat, because I know Mab couldn't see it when he was reading all that stuff to us. So thank you for saying the stuff you said.
A donut-shaped magnet can be taped over an ICD to turn off its shock function in an emergency or during end-of-life care. This is not deactivate the pacing per Google. Yes, a magnet is going to screw up any electronics device, and so will an electromagnetic pulse. Like I know how to make, in fact, I halfway already made an EMP device that I could shoot at a car that's coming down my hillside going over like 40 miles an hour. I was going to hook up a radar gun to it, and then if it was going over 40, it was going to hit the EMP right when the car passed, and it would fry the electronics in the computer of the car. The car would die, and then coast to the parking lot down at the bottom of the hill, and then they'd have to get it towed off because they pissed me off for speeding. I built half of it, but I didn't build all of it.
Now, one more. This might be a stupid question.
All right.
That glove that you just read up on,
Mhm.
that can't shut off the routers within the neighborhood, could it?
No,
I didn't think so.
no.
That's the only part we're missing is what shut off the Wi-Fi, the cameras.
They could have had a jammer in the car, and that would have taken
True.
cameras nearest Nancy's house, which were taken out. Not all the cameras, but the ones closest to her house were taken out.
But wouldn't the car have had to have been driving around, ma'am, for it to do that? Or
No.
could it sit in one spot and be able to do that?
It could sit in one spot in front of Nancy's house or beside it, but back by that casita, the car could have been sitting there with the jammer on. It would have taken out the cameras and like the cameras for like the neighbors that are right on the edge of that circle. Right.
That's my last question. Because I always hear you talk about South Tucson, which we know what you're talking about, Mexico.
Yeah,
So do you feel she was taken to Mexico, or do you feel that she could still be in the neighborhood somewhere?
I think she was probably taken south to Mexico.
Okay. I just pray we find her.
Yeah, I hope it's what I think it is, and she's still alive, and this is all just a psyop.
Right.
It sure don't look like any professional forensic job that I've ever seen.
Well, if it's a psyop, I mean, look at Savannah, like with I don't know if you're familiar with the Jennifer Hudson situation where, pretty much all her family passed away and then she started ranking up in the game. Now you got Savannah, her mom just passed away and now she's actually getting another show.
Yeah, that's interesting that you think of it that way because you sacrifice something and then you get a leg up in that kind of
Right.
Illuminati type situation.
Right.
But for all I know, she's alive somewhere sipping margaritas in the French Riviera.
I'd pray so.
And none of us are ever going to find out either. She'll be declared dead for so long. They'll split the money. They'll get $100 million for the movie rights and a bunch of book deals, and they'll make a shit ton of money. And Nancy will live out her last 5 or 7 years.
And one more thing. Let me know if the chat's getting tired of me because I can't see the chat when I'm on the phone with you. With the property taxes, do you think when the mortgage is being paid, the property tax is coming out, and what is the deadline that the property taxes has to be paid? Does anybody know?
It's called PITA when you pay it, when you buy a house. It's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And usually it's all packaged into one unless you have unless you're like doing owner financing or something. If you're getting a commercial finance from like a mortgage broker, you're going to have to pay principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to put a lien on the house.
So what's the deadline, Matt?
I think they were coming up on it, or they paid them already, says Lisa Joe.
Oh, they did pay it?
Yeah, May 1st, according to Cali Girl on Fire. You got me on in the background?
Have you on speakerphone?
Oh, that's why it's doing a little crazy shit. All right.
Sorry. Well, if it's messing up,
it sounds
chat can't understand. I'll drop back down in chat.
Sounds fine. What's your name in chat?
I'm scared to type in chat because this case is so big and we don't know who's behind this. I'm scared to type in chat.
You ain't gonna get snatched because of that. Come on, man.
I'm scared to type in
That's
chat.
not important. I ain't worried about him coming after me. I'm just an old man.
Well, if I live closer to you, Mab, I'd probably type in chat because I know I'd have protection. But
All right. Well, you're fine.
Yeah. But I'm always in your live stream. I always hit the like button. I'm always there.
All right. I appreciate you.
All right.
I'll talk to you again. I'll talk to you next time.
All right.
All right. Peace. All right. Yeah, taxes. I just got my tax bill. Come on, man. Yeah, so they paid their taxes. That's good. But the next video, or this video, and that didn't get played. I'm going to turn the phones off for a minute until we play this video, and I got to go make me a soda because I'm dying. So I'm stopping that screen. I'm going to put the off, do not disturb on for a second, and then we're going to share the screen to number 7, which is, no, that one. And it always puts me real down there tiny. I like it to be that. Now my mouse is working because I slammed it on the desk really hard. Now it works perfect. All right, you guys, I'm going to be right back.
That's the original term. Your router is capable of detecting your presence. Of course, the companies are going to brand this as Wi-Fi motion, Wi-Fi sensing, Linksys aware, whatever sounds less creepy, basically. But the underlying capability is the same. Your router knows that you're there. Now, if what I'm saying is already evoking that scene from The Dark Knight where the Batman uses sonar from cell phones to catch the Joker, you would be pretty close to the money because motion detection is just step 1. Researchers have already published steps 2 and 3. Let's get into it. So in 2023, Carnegie Mellon University published a paper called Dense Pose from Wi-Fi. Using just Wi-Fi signal from a standard router, an AI model is able to reconstruct your full body pose. This is where we step beyond just someone in a room to actually understanding the position of your arms, your legs, your overall posture. Multiple people in the room at once, through the walls, with no camera, just radio waves. This is really wild tech. And then it gets even more sophisticated. So these Wi-Fi signals interact with your body in a very unique way, depending on your bone density, your body mass, your posture, etc. A 2025 paper called WIFI showed that we could take advantage of these Wi-Fi signals to identify who the person actually is, essentially re-identification. So the way you walk, the way you shift your weight, even the way you sit, it creates this very unique biometric signature in the Wi-Fi signal. And they use a transformer neural network to match those signatures to specific individuals. Now, this is simultaneously creepy, but also super useful. In a sense, your AI systems can know who the person in the room is, so you can change the preferences accordingly. And you don't need to have like an invasive camera in every single room to do it. So if we take a step back, step 1 is Wi-Fi just detecting movement. This is already working in millions of homes. Step 2 is Wi-Fi reconstructing your precise body pose through the walls. This is published research. Step 3 is Wi-Fi being able to re-identify a specific person just based on their unique signature, also published. Suddenly we've gone from a very coarse-grained motion sensor to essentially a surveillance system that works in the dark through walls on hardware that you already own. And the gap between detect motion and identify the person is a simple software update. The hardware is already installed. You know, a little bit of edge compute and you're already there. Now, you can imagine this technology is very dual use. You can use it for surveillance, but you can also use it to power your own AI Jarvis. But what's really interesting is this exact same physics, like radio waves essentially as a sensing medium, is being commercialized at a massive scale. A company called Zynar emerged after 9 years in stealth with a $1 billion valuation and $100 million in funding. The investors include...
Wow. Imagine if I could have invented that one. Valued at $1 billion. Foundation layer of physical AI. So you use AI on the Wi-Fi signal and it says exactly what's going on in your house. So forensically speaking, they screwed the pooch on this case, right? They didn't take the tile. If you were going to do a forensic job on this case, you would have cut that tile out. You would have taken the front door. You would have taken the screen door. You would have taken any blood that was on the inside. You would have cut the wood out of the damn floor. or if it's tile, you would have cut the tile out. You would have taken the back doors. You would have done a proper forensic job. They left the freaking carpet. They could have used an MVAC on that carpet, which is a machine that injects a saline solution into rock or concrete or anything, and will suck out Sir Mabsta. I've invented some shit that you probably use right now. In fact, I know I've invented stuff that every one of you uses. But if I told you what it was, I would be doxing myself. But I'm going to do that pretty soon anyway, because I'm going to, when we announce our foundation, I'll say who I am and stuff. But now I lost my French. So forensically, they screwed this case up. The carpet where the guy was standing with the damn flowers and the blood on it, why would they have not taken that carpet? This tells me that they did not give a shit about finding out what happened to this woman. Because either they knew she was fine and she wasn't really lost, therefore they didn't form search parties, they didn't search for the shit. All they did was put up a front that made it look like they were doing something, and they looked exactly like what they are. Idiots. They look like idiots because that's what they're supposed to be looking like, because they're hiding the whole goddamn thing. Excuse my language, sorry. Sorry, God. But it pisses me off because it's just not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like Maureen O'Connell or Jennifer Coffendorfer or Chris McDonough, none of those people would have, they would have done whatever, they would have done exactly what I said. They would have used an MVAC, they would have taken the tile, they would have taken the doors, they would have taken all that shit and done a proper forensic examination at Quantico to find out who did this. But they didn't, because they didn't want to find out who did it.
Include Steve Jurvetson from the SpaceX board, the co-founders of Yahoo and Siri, and Skype's founding engineer. Now, I'll leave it to your own imagination to think about what a company was doing in stealth mode for 9 frickin' years, but the tech itself is worth digging into. What Xinar has built is essentially synchronizing existing Wi-Fi and 5G signals to sub-nanosecond precision. I mean, I'm talking about radio waves that travel at 30 centimeters per nanosecond. If you can measure the timing of that precisely, you essentially get sub-meter quality positioning.
You can follow anything, anywhere with this technology through AI. Like that, this thing could drive itself around just based on the AI positioning. To hell with GPS, this would be better than GPS.
That works indoors, outdoors, through the wall, no GPS required, no new sensors.
No GPS, just like I said.
Required. They're calling it the foundational layer for physical AI. And honestly, that makes a ton of sense. Like we've talked about this in the past. GPS does not work indoors. Cameras can drift. Nobody has cracked a universal positioning layer for the physical world. Xinar is saying that we already have one. It's called Wi-Fi and 5G.
Yeah.
We just weren't listening to it correctly. They've got 100 patents filed. 90 of those have been issued, and there are 0 rejections.
0 rejections. I find that very suspicious because every single patent, well, not every single patent, but most patents that I've ever filed have had at least 1 rejection. I mean, no examiner. If you get a patent on the first pass, you lost something. You lost something of your value because you weren't broad enough to get rejected the first time. You didn't write your claims so broadly that you would get rejected. You want to get rejected because, hey, what's up, Patriot Pride official? Did you go up on Dolly's? Is he still at it over there? We're watching how Wi-Fi can
They've already
find anything they want about your house. So forensically, they could have known who was in her house, how many people were in her house. Did they get in the back? Did they get in the front? Did they open the door? Did they close the door? Did they whatever they did, they would be able to find out just by examining the Wi-Fi signal from the damn router.
Already got $500 million in contracts and many more MOUs. Now, look, they haven't named their carrier partners yet. And of course, MOUs aren't signed deals, but that investor list and patent portfolio tells you that this is not vaporware. All right, so Wi-Fi can see you through your walls, and a $1 billion startup just turned every wireless network into a positioning grid. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because the defense world figured this out too. You might know Palmer Luckey, co-founder of Oculus, sold it to Facebook, and then started this defense company called Anduril. We've covered their VR headset in the past. And as of this week, they just raised $4 billion at a $60 billion valuation, with A16Z and Thrive Capital leading. Kind of in started this defense company called Anduril. We've covered their VR headset in the past. And as of this week, they just
I've heard of this company. $4 billion and a $60 billion valuation. Damn. I think this is AI stuff that like controls drones and shit.
just raised $4 billion at a $60 billion valuation, with A16Z and Thrive Capital leading. Kind of insane, but also goes to show you how much money and potential is left in the defense sector. One of their systems is the appropriately named Pulsar, essentially an AI-powered electromagnetic warfare platform that can passively sense and classify RF activity. It listens to every radio frequency emission in an area and identifies what's producing it and geolocates the source, and can even deliver an electronic attack. All autonomous, all running on the edge AI, meaning you don't need to send this data up to some cloud to process. Anduril, of course, also deploys autonomous surveillance towers on the US-Mexico border through the CBP. These sensing arrays have like radar, thermal, camera, all fused together through their Lattice AI platform into a single real-time operational picture. The essence.
This is fascinating shit, because you're talking about the whole spectrum of waves, from radio waves, light waves, ultraviolet, radio, X-ray, beta, alpha, all that shit. The whole gamut. They can sense all that shit, and through AI they can process it, find out where it's coming from, and freaking put a target on it, send it to Link 16, and have a damn Virginia-class submarine launch a missile and hit it right in the middle.
Is really the same principle as your Wi-Fi router sensing your body, except you're using more modalities. And this is a $60 billion defense contractor sensing everything on the border and the battlefield. So we went from the home to the enterprise to the battlefield, but we have one more domain left to go, and that's space.
Space.
This is honestly where it starts to feel like science fiction. Let's take the same idea and move it into orbit. Hawkeye 360 has 30 satellites flying in clusters of 3 about 500 kilometers up, and they have a single job: detect and geolocate every freaking RF emitter on Earth. I'm talking ship radios,
damn,
radar systems, GPS jammers, emergency beacons. They use this technology to track dark ships, basically vessels that turn off their transponders.
So you're talking about tankers trying to get past sanctions
To hide because they're doing illegal stuff. But of course, that doesn't matter because satellites still see the radio signal, meaning you can go dark on AIS, this open source data that I use to track the Iran strikes, but you can't go dark on physics. Pretty freaking wild. So of course, this company has contracts with the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office. Raytheon's an investor. Another company called Spire Global has 100 satellites doing the same kind of RF intelligence work. That little mini map in your home is effectively global. There are satellites overhead right now whose entire job is to light up every single RF emitter on the planet. Every radio, every radar, every phone is a dot on the map. So if I take a step back, to me, these are not separate stories. Like your living room, Zynar, Anduril, Hawkeye 360, all of them have the same fundamental insights.
So what I'm saying is, they're asking questions like, did they come in the back door? Did they come in the front door? How many were there? All they got to do is look at the damn Wi-Fi signal history and analyze it through AI, and they'll know if she was in her bedroom, if she walked, if she was carried, or any of that shit. Let's see, what did you say? I don't know if dropping a jewel gift helps you, but here it goes. Anything helps, honey. Just saying, being here is enough. You know what I'm saying? Just like the video. That's all right. I don't like to hassle you guys about liking and sharing and subbing and all that shit, but sub up the channel if you haven't and like the damn video. I just have fun doing this. So
Radio waves are a sensing medium. They're a modality.
So this is what I'm saying is that they could have found out how many people were there, where they were, how if they got in the back, the front, and all of that shit through the Wi-Fi. But they're not even saying that they, I mean, the technology is right here. All you got to do is subpoena the Wi-Fi carrier and get their data on the Wi-Fi of that night. And it'll tell you how many people were in the house, what time she got up, what time she went to bed, what time she took her medicine, how many people were there. Did they come in the front? Did they come in the back? Did they have a car on the driveway? Wi-Fi will tell you all of that shit. But they're not even asking because they're idiots or they're doing a psyop. It's one or the other.
Modality to geolocate and track things in the physical world, and they always have been, right? We just did not have the compute and the algorithms to make sense of it. We just treated radio waves as dumb pipes that were carrying data from point A to point B. But in reality, every single Wi-Fi signal, every single 5G pulse, every radio broadcast paints a spatial picture of the physical world. Researchers learn to read it for automation. Zynar needs it for enterprise positioning. Anduril and Hawkeye 360 read it for defense, whether they do it from land or from space. In other words, RF is the next spatial modality, and it'll sit right alongside LiDAR, RGB cameras, infrared cameras, except this tech is already deployed in every building, on every battle space, and overhead in orbits. And it already works through the wall, in the dark, in shitty weather, with hardware nobody thinks twice about.
And it worked at Nancy's house. Why are they covering that up?
To take even a bigger picture, this is yet another layer being added to the stack for physical AI. I mean, think about the tech I had a chance to work on, visual positioning system. This is the tech that uses cameras, LiDAR, 3D maps, and all kinds of fancy sensors to let a device know exactly where it is down to the centimeter. Now, VPS already works indoors and outdoors, but RF sensing is another modality entirely. It could complement VPS as an additional sensor layer, or it could stand on its own as its own positioning system. Either way, you're adding day, night, and all-weather spatial awareness that works through walls in the dark using hardware people already have. That's what makes this super powerful for physical AI in the real world, not just augmented reality, but also robotics and home automation. Now
they already
the
have
question
what's called muons, so it's from space. Yeah, that 41 minutes Cali Girl on Fire, I think, was spent deleting all that shit off her phone, possibly even wiping her phone. Math ain't mathin'. There's space particles called muons that come through space. And they go through everything, but they go through things at a certain speed. So they go through plastic at a certain speed, they go through concrete at a certain speed, they go through diamonds at a certain speed, and all the rock layers of Earth they go through at a certain speed. So if you had a piece of property and say you were a gold miner or you wanted to find out if there were caves or whatever, you would drill 4 holes, boreholes, 100 feet deep, and put muon detectors in each of those holes, and then let it sit for 6 months, and then run that detection through the algorithm, and it will give you a whole map of your property, layer by layer, that tells you where the rock layer is, where the slide plains are, where the gravel layers are, where the gold deposits are. That's how they can find out. Just like on Skinwalker Ranch, I never understood why they didn't use muon detectors there, because they're always talking about tunnels and there's something underground, there's a spaceship underground and a fucking the UFOs go into the mesa and all that shit. They could see all that shit if they just use the technology that's already available.
Isn't whether radio waves become a primary.
Monk thinks it's possible for what? Looking for a right now in Prescott, Arizona for a fake kidnapping, ancestral DNA. Yeah.
Sensing layer that is already happening at scale. Look at the companies that we talked about. Most people don't even know that their Wi-Fi is capable of seeing. The question is, what do
you guys want to do a great investment? Invest in one. Hey, Sweet Leaf, what's up? Want to do a good investment? Invest in one of these layer stack sensing technology companies.
we do with this technology? Like, it took us so long to realize that GPS location aggregated was both useful but also pretty freaking scary. I think we're going to go through that same uncomfortable period with RF as a sensing layer, but we have so many lessons from the past. We need to take advantage of those learnings and have our eyes wide open, pun intended, about what we can and should do with this technology. In my opinion, it's super cool to have cameras outside your home, but cameras inside your home is kind of freaking creepy. So if you can use these passive sensing modalities to figure out who and what's in a room, that's freaking amazing.
May be able to tell the difference between Nancy and whoever was in there just based on their signature from the Wi-Fi.
So many different
Monk's cool. I like it.
Applications. If you got people in the wild trying to do bad things and evade the authorities, it's amazing to use this technology to track them down. But I keep going back to that scene from the...
Did you see that right there? That little scene is what they should have done in Nancy's case right here.
Who and what's in a room, that's freaking amazing for so many different applications. If you got people in the wild trying to do bad things and evade the authorities, it's amazing to use this technology to track them down. But I keep going back to that scene from The Dark Knight. And really, the cliche quote comes to mind: with great power comes great responsibility.
Nancy's breaker box was outside, so they probably cut the power, but they still got caught on Wi-Fi before they went to the power box, and the car pulled up before they went to the power box, and maybe one or more people were outside before they went to the power box. Somebody had to turn the power box back on, and as soon as they turned the power box back on, within a minute or two, the Wi-Fi would have been back on, and it would have mapped what was going on outside, if they freaking care to look and subpoena the data.
Meanwhile, most people don't even know their Wi-Fi can see. If you found this video interesting, please send it to a friend. And if you want to learn more about visual positioning system and how it fits into this physical AI picture, check out this video right here. If you're not subscribed yet, now's a great time. I help you map the frontier every single week. Pavel signing off, and I'll see y'all on the next.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. Think they have more footage. There's not saying anything. They probably do. 105. Thanks, Sweet Leaf. Appreciate you. Dolly must have just quit because my numbers are going up. Let's see. Oh, he did just quit. Dolly quit. I'll watch him later. We're back. All right. So you find that interesting that they have the ability to find exactly out, the sedation info is freaky. Person in the car probably spotted the cam light. Oh, I should go get my bike light. Oh, I bet it works in here without this. Hold on. Oof. Now that I got a green screen, it's not going to screw it up. Watch. Oh, Oh, it does. It still messes it up. Anyway, yeah, the bite light's cool. Should I put the phones back on? There's one more video that I wanted you guys to see. 25 minutes. But let's check it out. No drama? I don't like drama. We don't like drama. There was a drama person in here earlier and I kicked him to the damn curb. Screw the host, he said. I was like, what? You're out for good. You can never come back. Don't need your sub. I do not need you. I'd be doing this if I had 5 people watching. Now my mouse works perfectly. It's crazy. I got so pissed that I just slammed it on the desk and now it works perfect. I mean, it's back to normal. Sometimes you just gotta slam shit to make it work.
Okay, so I need to talk to you about something that has been building in this case for weeks. And I want to be clear from the start. This is not speculation. This is not rumor. What I am about
Not speculation, he says. Old Jesse Weber.
to walk you through is a documented financial trail that runs directly through the center of this investigation. Property records, legal instruments, law enforcement actions. And one conversation between a mother and her daughter that, if verified, may be the single most important piece of information to surface in this entire case. Because for months, we have known how Nancy Guthrie was taken. The surveillance, the cameras going dark, the figure at the door with the balaclava and the double gloves, the ransom notes. The timeline of that night laid out minute by minute. We have covered every piece of the how in exhaustive detail. But the why, the reason someone would execute that level of planning against an 84-year-old woman while she...
You're right, Quinn the Golden. Doesn't have any effect on the green screen, but it washes out the camera. Except the porch guys didn't very much. Should have.
slept alone in her own home, that has been the missing piece until now. According to a report published by Hidden Times, Annie Guthrie asked her mother for a loan shortly before Nancy disappeared from her home on February 1st. Nancy reportedly said no. Let me stop right there, because I want to be precise about what we know and what we do not. That claim has not been confirmed by law enforcement. It has not been addressed publicly by the Guthrie family. It has not been denied. But it landed in the middle of a case where financial questions surrounding Annie and her husband Tomosso...
Let's hear that again, because is that true or is this just bullshit?
Stop right there, because I want to be precise about what we know. 4-year-old woman while she slept alone in her own home, that has been the missing piece until now. According to a report published by Hidden Times
Says this.
Annie Guthrie asked her mother for a loan shortly before Nancy disappeared from her home on February 1st.
How shortly before?
Nancy reportedly said no.
No, you can't have another loan. I've loaned you guys money for frickin' years.
Let me stop right there, because I want to be precise about what we know and what...
And your husband keeps gambling it away.
What we do not. That claim has not...
Thanks, TWC, bud.
Not been confirmed by law enforcement. It has not been addressed publicly by the Guthrie family. It has not been denied. But it landed in the middle of a case where financial questions surrounding Annie and her husband Tomosso Ciano have been quietly accumulating for months. The property values, the power of attorney, the boxes leaving Nancy's house.
Now, I have the power of attorney, and it was in May 2025. This is Jesse Weber, yeah.
The vehicle held for 40 days, and it
It's not AI because the inflection is...
gave all of those questions something they did not have before, a starting point. So let us follow the money all the way through, because when you line these documented details up in sequence, they stop looking random. They stop looking like coincidence. They start looking like a pattern. Nancy Guthrie's home in the Catalina foothills is valued at roughly $1 million. That is public record. It sits in one of the most desirable neighborhoods in the Tucson area. Nancy had been living there for decades. Annie and Tomasso's home is approximately 4 miles away. Its estimated value sits around $650,000. That is a gap of roughly $350,000 between the home of the mother and the home of the daughter who lived nearest to her. Now, on its own, that gap means nothing. Parents often have more than their children. That is completely normal. But when you are trying to understand why someone would target Nancy specifically, why this woman, why this house, why this extraordinary level of planning, the value of what she owned becomes directly relevant, because the most common motive in cases where an elderly person is harmed by someone within their own circle is not rage. It is not passion. It is not revenge. It is access. Access to assets that become available when the owner is no longer present to protect them. Then there is the power of attorney. A document circulated that showed that in May of 2025, 8 months before Nancy disappeared, Tomosso signed a durable power of attorney naming Annie as his agent over financial and property matters. People with legal backgrounds weighed in publicly. Several said it is standard. The kind of document that gets...
Yeah, I heard something that said that it might be AI. Just listen to this.
For financial and property.
For financial and property matters. It should have been. And it said...
Durable power of attorney naming Annie as his agent over financial and property matters.
Property matters. Okay, so it's damn good AI, but it's AI. And they're using Jesse Weber's voice. Unless you gave him permission to do it and he's taking a cut. Because 120,000 views, it's going to make some money. All right. $975 comments.
People with legal backgrounds weighed in publicly. Several said it is standard. The kind of document that gets signed during a mortgage refinance or a property transfer.
You're right. Could be a voice to text. Could be an AI voiceover, but it's damn good for what it is. It's damn good.
Routine paperwork, nothing more. And maybe that is exactly all it is. But the timing places it inside a sequence. And that sequence has a direction. May of 2025 power of attorney signed. Sometime before January 31st.
Tomosso signed over his power of attorney to Annie for property matters on one property. Their property, not anybody else's property.
Annie reportedly asks Nancy for money and is turned down. January 31st, Nancy has dinner at Annie and Tomasso's house. Tomosso drives her home. February 1st, Nancy is gone. You can dismiss any single item in that sequence as coincidence. But
Jim, you know everything.
But the sequence itself has a direction, and the direction is financial. Now let me talk about what is happening at Nancy's house, because this is generating questions that nobody in the family has answered publicly. Photographs surfaced in recent weeks showing people at Nancy's residence loading items into vehicles. Annie's Honda CR-V was visible in those images.
Yeah. They don't have any right to go in there taking boxes out of a crime scene like that. They have no ownership of anything in Nancy's house. She has not been declared dead. So what are they doing in her house messing with her personal belongings when she could show up at any minute? What the hell's going on? Thanks, Bubby. I appreciate it.
Boxes were being carried out of the home. Let me be very clear about the legal reality here. Nancy Guthrie has not been declared dead. No death certificate exists. No probate has been initiated. No court has authorized anyone to remove personal property from the home of a woman whose disappearance is still classified as an active criminal investigation. And yet boxes are leaving that house. There is no confirmation that Annie and Tomosso are planning to move into Nancy's home. But between the boxes leaving the property, the repeated presence of Annie's vehicle, and the fact that Tomosso was already observed moving through the house and garage with visible familiarity on the same day, ransom notes surfaced publicly. People have connected their own dots. And the picture those dots form is a family preparing to assume control of a property that does not legally belong to them yet.
That's right. What the hell are they doing? They don't own that property. What the hell are they doing mucking around in there, taking boxes out, forging documents and shit, probably. Recording shit. Like they're gonna make up some shit. Hindustan Times, but figured out how India knew more than the US. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Smokey. Sikorsky. I'm sure they have shit in her house if she's been there for 50 years. Why would they have shit in her house? They have shit they want that's in her house, but they don't have any of their shit in her house. They have their shit at their house. Yeah, and who hides like that? I've never met an innocent person who was ducking and hiding like Annie and Tomosso did in that picture of them in the car. What in the hell was that about? You can call you Smokey, just don't call you late for dinner. All right. I'll do that. Smokey Sikorsky. Sikorsky reminds me of helicopters.
Because its owner has not been declared dead. That is not a minor detail. That is not something that can be waved away. If someone is removing property from the home of a missing person whose case is still an active federal investigation, that is a matter that law enforcement is almost certainly aware of. And the fact that it has continued without any public intervention tells you one of two things. Either investigators are watching and documenting rather than stopping it, or there is an explanation that has not been made public.
Or do they either know she's not coming back, or they're sure she's not coming back? I don't know why they'd be taking shit out of her house. Yeah, even celebs don't hide their face like that. I just lost my Aunt Jackie a couple days ago. She was like one of the first lesbians that I've ever met. She was like probably almost 90. She was a lesbian. She was great though. I loved her. She had a stutter and I always copied her stutter and she'd laugh her ass off. But she just passed away a couple days ago. Gonna miss her.
Neither of those possibilities is reassuring. Now, let me connect the financial thread to something I want to address from a completely new angle. The vulnerability. We have talked before about all the protections that were absent from Nancy's life in the period before she was taken. The dog that had died and was never replaced. The camera system that was not actively recording. The hearing aids that came out every night, leaving her completely deaf to the world around her. The medication sitting on the counter that the Pima County Sheriff said could be fatal to skip. No overnight caretaker. No alarm system. No medical alert device on her wrist or around her neck.
Okay, so the people who were entrusted with her security failed her completely. All right? She didn't have a life alert. She had no, cheap person to, stay with her overnight. She had a full casita in the back that somebody could have been staying in to keep her safe. That could have lived there for free and traded for security. No cloud storage on her Nest cameras. I mean, count up all the shit that they failed her on. NBC routinely, with their talent, they will, thanks Victoria Burgess, appreciate that. They will, NBC for their talent will go through security things with their talent. And part of that is security for their family members. So they should have been briefed on security measures for Nancy, Annie, Tomosso, and all of those people, all of the family members, Savannah's husband, his kids, all the people in their circle should have been briefed on security advice for their families and their circle of people. So I'm sure that they were, but they just ignored it for some reason.
But here is the piece that has not been said until now. Every single one of those missing protections costs almost nothing to fix. A camera subscription runs approximately $15 a month. A medical alert pendant costs less than $1 a day. An overnight aid through a home health agency in Tucson is available for a few $100s a week. These are not extraordinary expenses reserved for the wealthy. They are basic precautions that families with elderly parents living alone put in place as a matter of routine. A phone call and a credit card. That is the entire barrier between an 84-year-old woman being protected and being completely exposed. The Guthrie family had the resources. Savannah Guthrie is one of the highest paid broadcast journalists in the country. The combined income across 3 adult siblings is more than sufficient to cover every single one of those safeguards many times over without any meaningful financial impact on any of them, and none of it was done. Nancy was left in a $1 million house with no working security cameras, no monitoring system, no overnight help, and no way to summon assistance once her hearing aids came out at night. She was, in every practical sense,
Failed, 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 failed. Failed by her family, failed by NBC, failed by Savannah, failed by Annie, failed by Tomosso, failed by Nanos, failed by the forensics team, failed by the homicide unit that freaking never even did a homicide before, the guy that ran in the place, failed by news outlets that should have been demanding damn press releases, failed by everybody.
completely unreachable and completely unprotected. Now factor in the reported loan refusal. If Annie was in a financial position where she needed to ask her 84-year-old mother for money and was turned down, then the question of why nobody in...
All right, brother. Thanks for being here, Jim. I'm almost wrapping it up pretty soon. It's almost midnight here, and that's 3 in the morning for some of you guys.
invested in basic protections for Nancy takes on an entirely different dimension. It is no longer simply an oversight. It becomes a situation that someone under financial pressure may not have seen as a priority worth addressing. Or, and this is the harder version of the question, it becomes something that was permitted to continue. Because a vulnerable, unmonitored, unprotected mother in a $1 million home is significantly easier to reach than one surrounded by cameras, alarms, and a caretaker sleeping in the next room. I am not stating that as a conclusion. I am laying out the logic that the financial evidence invites. And it is the same logic that experienced investigators apply when they encounter this specific combination of factors in any case involving an elderly victim. Let me walk through the night of January 31st one more time, but this time through the lens of money and access rather than timelines and camera angles.
Here we go.
At 5:32 in the evening, Nancy requested an Uber from her residence.
And they're too freaking lazy to go pick her up, make her pay for an Uber. When they're the ones, you know, that have the jobs. All they had to 4 miles away. What is that? 5-minute drive? You can't drive 5 minutes to pick up your mother. You're going to make some stranger pick her up and have her ride with a stranger over to your house? Low class. Low class.
The driver picked her up and took her to Annie and Tommasso's home for dinner. That ride is fully documented, timestamps, in-car footage. A driver who cooperated with the FBI. Everything about the trip to Annie's house is on the record.
I want to see the video. I want to know what she was wearing. I want to hear the 911 call.
The trip home is not. Nancy did not take an Uber back. Tomosso was behind the wheel. He decided when they departed. He chose the route. He determined the moment Nancy reached her front door.
And he better not have stayed at her house longer than it took to drop her off. Because if he did, that means he's the one that propped them damn doors open. Because all he had to do was stop the car, hit the button on his phone to open her garage door while she walked in, hit the button on the side of the wall as she walked through the garage into her house, shut the door. Before the door even starts coming down, he slips inside the garage, waits 20 minutes for her to take her medication and go to bed, and then slips out the back and props the doors open. So if he's there for any more than 5 minutes, he's got some splaining to do. And if it's 10 minutes, he's screwed.
And his account of what happened at the door,
They'll find out through the data in the car.
walking her in, watching the garage close behind her, stands completely alone. No camera recorded the arrival. No neighbor witnessed it.
Dirty Diana, welcome. Quinn the Golden. Why would he prop the door open? He has a key. Yeah, he probably has a key. Could have given a key. Could have given a key to his buddies or whoever, you know, porch guy was, or the porch guy's buddy. Appreciate you, Adam. Go sub up Adam. He's going to be at 10,000 by time we get back from CrimeCon.
No app generated a timestamp. The only version of those final minutes before Nancy was alone in her house comes from one person. If the loan refusal is real, if Annie asked for money in the days or weeks before that dinner and Nancy said no, then that evening carries a weight that goes beyond a family gathering. It means the last person Nancy had dinner with is the daughter she refused. It means the last person to drive her home is the husband.
Everybody wants to come up between now and the end of this 25 minutes. Hit that link.
Of the daughter she refused. And it means the 14 hours that followed from 9:50 in the evening to noon the following day, during which nobody from that household contacted Nancy by phone, by text, or by driving 4 miles to check on her, occurred in.
Somebody do green screen, Adam? I got a green screen now, and it's awesome. I can put any background I want on here.
The wake of a conversation where a mother said no to her child. 14 hours. That is an extraordinary gap. Nancy was 84 years old. She had a pacemaker. She needed medication at 10 in the evening that the sheriff's office said could prove fatal to Skip. She was about to remove her hearing aids and become completely deaf to everything happening around her. She was alone in a house with no active cameras, no alarm, and no medical alert. The people who drove her home knew every single one of those facts. They had just spent an evening with her. They lived 4 miles away. And from the moment the garage closed until a friend called the next morning because Nancy had not appeared on a church live stream, nothing. No contact of any kind. In families where a parent is aging alone, the goodnight call.
I ordered a green screen 2 months ago, and it came, and I would have had to build a frame for it. So I figured, nah, I want one of these that pulls down. So I got one last week, but it looked like a freaking Nephilim using this baseball bat. But it had 2 big gashes in the box, and it was bent so bad that it metal jammed into the cloth of it, and it wouldn't even open. So I had to send it back, do a return, and get another one and hope that it wasn't damaged, and it wasn't. And then I had to find time to put it up. So yeah.
Call is automatic. The morning check-in is routine. A 3-second text home safe, love you, is the kind of small act that costs nothing and exists because people care. That ritual was completely absent on the night of January 31st. And its absence created the exact operational window that whoever took Nancy required. No interruption, no unexpected visit, no phone call that might have been answered by someone other than Nancy. A clean 14-hour block where the only mechanism for discovering that something had gone wrong was a friend who noticed an empty chair on a Sunday morning live stream.
Poor ladies at the church probably called her 15 minutes after she didn't show up. They didn't wait till the end of that church service because she always showed up at that thing. She always went to those ladies' houses at the same time every Sunday to watch that service. And as soon as she didn't show up early, like she probably did, they called Annie, which means they probably called Annie by 9:30 or 10. Next 2 hours or 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours before she called 911. Sweet leaf. Okay, let me get the Sweet leaf. How's it going? You're muted. You're muted. Unmute.
There, you can hear me now.
There you go. Yeah, I can hear you now.
I know, I gotta turn down my TV, right? Oh
Yeah.
my god. Okay, well, I might have to drop out because I gotta do it all on my phone.
You're fine. Let me just turn you down a little bit.
Okay.
You still there? Hello. Anyway, we're going to still continue with the video.
The financial lens does not change the facts of the timeline. It changes what the
She froze up.
timeline might mean.
Church friends, why hasn't any of the church friends spoken out? One lady did speak out. I'm not sure. Oh, she was one of the people from the university. She did speak out. But we haven't heard from any of the ladies from the church, virtual church, I should say. I want to hear from them.
Because the absence of a goodnight call from a daughter who just had dinner with her mother looks different when that daughter was recently denied a loan. It stops looking like forgetfulness. It starts looking like distance. The kind of distance that exists between two people who had a difficult conversation that has not been resolved, or the kind of distance that serves a different purpose entirely. Now, let me talk about the 911 call, because this is where the investigation tells you more by what it is withholding than by what it has released.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Sorry.
I'm going to continue with the video. I got you now.
Okay.
The call that reported Nancy missing has never been made public. Not the recording, not a transcript, not even a summary of what was said or how it began.
Why don't we have the 911 call? I wish that they would release it so we could find out what the hell was said on that call.
In Arizona, 911 recordings are public records. Reporters can request them. In the vast majority of high-profile missing person cases, the recording surfaces within days, sometimes within hours. 3 months into this investigation, nobody has heard what Annie said when she called to report her mother was gone. Retired detective Bob Gilliam, appearing on a public interview program, addressed this directly. He said there is almost certainly investigative information on that recording that law enforcement does not want the public to hear yet. He said not to hold your breath, waiting for it to be released. And then he said something that carries more weight than anything else in his statement. He suggested the recording may not surface until a trial date approaches. A trial. That word is not thrown around casually by retired law enforcement with decades of experience. A trial implies charges. It implies an arrest. It implies that the trajectory of this investigation, despite 3 months of public silence and apparent stagnation, leads to a courtroom, and the 911 call is being preserved as evidence for that proceeding.
So that means that they have a suspect. And because they have a suspect, they're trying to build a case that will survive a jury trial. That's why they haven't released a 911 call. That's my opinion. Anyway, for what it's
Now think about what might be on that recording that would justify keeping it sealed for this long. The obvious elements are Annie's voice, the time of the call, and the words she chose. But also the less obvious ones. How much detail did she volunteer before the dispatcher even asked?
what was in the background? Who was saying what, when?
Did she describe what she found inside the house? Did she mention the blood on the porch? Did she describe specific details about what she saw, details that a person arriving at a scene for the first time would not yet know? And then there was the 7-minute gap. The family arrived at Nancy's house at 11:56 in the morning. The 911 call was placed at 12:03 in the afternoon. 7 minutes between walking up to the home of a missing 84-year-old woman and picking up a phone to call for help. If there was blood visible on the front porch, blood
It was a lot longer than that. Ask me.
that was in a location difficult to miss, then the question of what happened in those 7 minutes becomes significant. Were they searching the house? Were they calling each other? Were they discussing what to say before dialing? Were they touching something they should not have touched? The 911 recording likely captures what happened immediately before and during that call.
What were they hiding in Luke Daly's car right there? That's what I want to know. Something was in the back of Luke's car that they did not want anybody to see. What was it?
Background sounds, other voices in the
Yeah, Cameron's a pilot.
space, the emotional register of the person speaking. All of it is locked away, and a retired detective with real experience says the reason it is locked away is preparation for trial. Now let me bring in the DNA picture, because this is where the investigation stands forensically, and it matters enormously in the context of everything we have just discussed. A CODIS search, the national DNA database used by law enforcement, already came back negative. That means whoever left biological material inside Nancy Guthrie's home.
Did you finally get a new mic, Adam? I hope so.
I'm being very quiet because I'm listening to everything, but I just don't know about this case.
Oh, you sent Donnie a new mic today. That's good. He needed one. You need one too, Patriot. Go ahead, Sweet Leaf.
No, I was just saying I don't know about this case. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's way out there in the boondocks, like really dark and mischievous, and like I don't know how they can just mess up something like that so badly.
I don't either. They're idiots. I mean,
I
just
don't know. That's
the the what do you call it? The forensics on that job was horrid. They didn't do any forensics like they're supposed to. They left the freaking mat that could have contained DNA. It's still on the porch today.
Well, I'm just thinking that, you know, I had ties in El Paso with my sister-in-law that passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, I have a possum going across my yard. That's crazy. But yeah, I had a sister-in-law that passed away in El Paso. And then when I went up there, it was so dark and miles of nothing out there. It's just desert of everything. Scary. Because I'm from the hill country, so you get out there and it's just dark and it's just, you're out of your element, you know? So somebody has to be in their element just to be in that area and know that area. So it's somebody that is very close and very personal.
Yeah.
And that sheriff is just like too close to me, to all of it, and just trying to disguise everything that's going on, that maybe he might even have some ties with the family.
So Quinn the Golden says he was watching Dolly and thought, what if Cameron was flying snow, green, and everything in between over the border, and Nancy found out and threatened to tell if he didn't stop? Cartel took care of it. I doubt it. Would fly drugs over the border because he was a pilot. I don't think so. But everything's possible, right? You were saying it's
I
very.
was just saying that maybe the sheriff has a little bit too close of ties with the family, and it's just all mucky because of him and them. Or
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say the family, but something is not right. Something's off.
The sheriff is clearly compromised in more than one way.
With
I
someone
mean,
or
he had
something.
his ass off to get that job in the first place. He was lucky he didn't go. He was lucky he wasn't indicted and spent time in Texas for what he did there. So, and now we're finding all this shit out. And he's just yucking it up with this Corvette, wants more money, and it's horrible. He's more concerned with his own ass than Nancy Guthrie. I can tell you that.
Now he is.
Crazy. Here, let's finish this video.
Has never been in the criminal justice system. No prior arrests, no prior convictions, a completely clean record. Think about what that eliminates. It eliminates career criminals. It eliminates repeat offenders. It eliminates anyone with a prior history of violence that put them in the system. The DNA profile that investigators are working with belongs to someone living what appears from the outside to be a completely ordinary life. Someone whose name would not trigger any flags in any database. Someone who could attend family dinners, someone who could drive an elderly woman home, someone who could sign legal documents and make real estate transactions and ask for loans. The hair sample recovered from inside Nancy's home, the one that the sheriff's office initially sent to a private lab in Florida rather than the FBI lab at Quantico, is now believed to be undergoing analysis at a level of sophistication that has cracked cases considered permanently unsolvable. The San Francisco laboratory that contributed to the conviction of Rex Heuermann, the Long Island serial killer, has been referenced in connection with this evidence. That laboratory specializes in forensic genetic genealogy, the technology that builds a family tree from a DNA sample and works backward until it identifies a living person. That process takes time. It is painstaking. It requires patience that the public and the media are not naturally built for, but it has never
What are you going on, Patriot Pride official?
permanently failed when applied to quality biological evidence. And if the hair recovered from Nancy's home contains a root which determines whether full genomic profiling is possible, then whoever left it in that house is already in a database that they do not know exists. The CODIS result also carries a specific implication in the context of everything else we have discussed. It describes someone with no criminal history.
Wow, Sikorsky, cool. Your first FOIA request to the police department in another state. I haven't done my first FOIA yet. First, I got to finish my 501c3 because I'll be working everything under that foundation.
Someone unremarkable on paper. Someone who, if you describe them to a neighbor or a colleague, would generate no alarm. That profile is consistent with someone who had legitimate access to Nancy's life, consistent with someone who knew the house, consistent with someone who had been inside before. Now let me address where the official investigation stands, because the silence from law enforcement is itself communicating something. Sheriff Chris Nanos has not held a substantive press conference in over a month. On May 1st, the 3-month mark of Nancy's disappearance, he appeared in a brief video clip saying he believes someone out there knows what happened and urging that person to call. That is the public posture of a department that is either holding something it cannot yet disclose or managing an investigation at a stage where public statements create more problems than they solve. NBC News built a specific protocol at the Today Show for this case. If news about Nancy breaks during a live broadcast, Savannah is removed from the set immediately. A different anchor delivers the story on camera. The information is given to Savannah privately and off-air. That protocol was reportedly activated on April 15th. Savannah was pulled mid-broadcast and returned later without explanation. 2 days after that, she was absent from the show entirely. Networks do not construct those kinds of internal procedures for cases they believe are going cold. They build them for cases where they expect a moment, an arrest, a discovery, an identification that will hit in real time during a live national broadcast. The existence of that protocol is itself a form of preparation, and preparation signals expectation. NBC expects something to happen, and they have built their newsroom around being ready for it when it does.
Well, they should have taken the security advice of the NBC security team when they, prepped them in the past. I'm sure they did. They do that to all the families.
Dr. Matthew Hines, vice chair of the Pima County Board of Supervisors, publicly accused Sheriff Nanos of hindering cooperation with the FBI because of a personal grudge against the Bureau.
True, so true.
A sitting, elected county official made that accusation in public. It has not been retracted. That is not the language of routine interagency friction. That is a formal accusation from within the county's own government that the person running this investigation allowed personal feelings to interfere with a federal case involving an abducted 84-year-old woman. And Ed Smart, the father of Elizabeth Smart, a man who has lived through exactly this kind of nightmare and who understands better than almost anyone what these investigations look like from the inside, appeared publicly and chose his words with visible care. He said the Guthrie family has supposedly been cleared. That word, supposedly. It is the word.
Nobody is cleared until you find the perp. That's simple. Very, very simple.
You use when you are respecting an official position while leaving the door precisely, deliberately open to the possibility that it is not the final word. Let me stack the financial thread one final time, beginning to end, because when you see it assembled as a single continuous sequence, it is very difficult to look away from. May of 2025, a durable power of attorney is signed giving Annie authority over Tomosso's financial and property affairs. Legal experts call it routine for real estate transactions. The timing places it 8 months before the abduction. Sometime before January 31st, Annie reportedly asked Nancy for a loan. The amount is unknown. The reason.
So is that denial of a loan is why that they did the power of attorney in expectation of doing this and then buying the new house to make it look like they had money? They really didn't.
Reason is unknown. Nancy says,
thanks, Sandra. Appreciate it.
No. That refusal, if verified, is the first
Thanks, Monet. Appreciate you.
Documented moment of financial tension between a mother and the daughter who would be the last person to see her. January 31st, 5:32 in the evening. Nancy takes a documented Uber to Annie and Tomosso's house for dinner. January 31st, approximately 9:50 in the evening. Tomosso drives Nancy home. The ride is completely undocumented. No third-party camera, no rideshare log, no independent witness.
Now look at this picture. Who does that? That's innocent. Who does this? That's innocent. Does this look like innocent people to you? Sure as hell don't look like innocent people to me. Look like guilty people to me.
The only account of that trip comes from Tomosso. 9:50 in the evening to 12:03 the following afternoon. 14 hours and 13 minutes of total silence. No call, no text, No visit from the people who live 4 miles away and who had just spent an entire evening with a woman they knew would be alone, deaf, and dependent on medication that could be fatal to miss. February 1st, 1:47 in the morning. The doorbell camera captures the masked figure on the porch. February 1st, 2:28 in the morning, Nancy's pacemaker disconnects from her phone. She has been moved beyond Bluetooth range of the nightstand where her phone was left behind. February 1st, 12:03 in the afternoon, the 911 call is made. It is currently sealed by investigators. A retired detective with decades of experience says it likely contains evidence being preserved for trial. February through March. Annie's Honda CR-V is seized by law enforcement and held for over 40 days of forensic examination.
40 days is a lot of time to look at a computer. They must have torn that shit apart, down to the damn axles.
40 days is not standard processing time for the vehicle of someone who has been publicly cleared. That is the timeline of a vehicle being examined for specific biological or trace material evidence. April. Photographs surface showing people removing items from Nancy's residence. Annie's vehicle is present at the property. Nancy has not been declared dead. No legal...
Yeah, we need to see that Uber driver, Lisa Marie. I still say Luke Daly is 100% involved in some way. Yeah, he's looking pretty sus. And his face sure matched up to porch guy's face.
Process has authorized the removal of anything from that home. May. Speculation emerges publicly that...
And who goes to the Olympics the day after their mother-in-law is abducted? Who leaves the country? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Who? You just can't make this shit up.
Someone intends to move into Nancy's residence. The question circulates without an answer from the family. That is the thread. And it runs through every phase of this case, from the power of attorney to the loan refusal, to the last dinner, to the undocumented ride home, to the 14-hour silence, to the sealed 911 call, to the vehicle held for 40 days, to the property being cleared while its owner remains missing and unaccounted for. Each item in that sequence has an innocent explanation. I want to acknowledge that directly and clearly. A power of attorney can be entirely routine. A dinner can be just a dinner. A ride home can be a simple act of courtesy. A gap in phone calls can be an oversight. Boxes can be moved for legitimate preservation reasons. Every single piece of this has a version that means nothing on its own.
But all together, they mean something else.
But here is what I have learned from covering this case. When every innocent explanation requires you to ignore the piece that came before it and the piece that comes after it.
Yeah, I went to the Olympics the next day. Flew to Italy. Right? I'd like to see the videotape of him at the airport going through TSA on the way to the Olympics.
When accepting each one in isolation requires you to pretend the sequence does not exist. The innocent explanations stop being the most likely ones. They become the ones you have to work hardest to believe. I am not accusing
Wish I was 58 again.
Nancy Guthrie or Tomosso Ciano of anything. What I am doing is following the
She was supposed to go cover the Olympics. She stayed behind because her mother was taken.
Evidence. And the evidence has led to a financial trail that begins with a daughter asking her mother for money and ends with boxes leaving a $1 million home before the law has declared its owner dead. The CODIS search came back with nothing. The DNA belongs to someone with a clean record.
Yeah, I probably had all kinds of shit in his baggage that he got rid of in another country.
Someone unremarkable. Someone living an ordinary life. Someone who may have been inside that house before. Someone who may have...
Could have had a whole suitcase full of all the shit those guys were wearing and just left it in Italy.
Sat at that dinner table. The 911 call is sealed. A retired detective says it will not be released until a trial date is set.
Now that means they got somebody, they know who did it. They're just building a case. That's what that means.
A trial date. That is where this is heading. And when it gets there, the conversation that started all of this, a mother, a daughter, a request for money, and the word no, may turn out to be the most important exchange in this entire case. If you have any information about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, contact the Pima County Sheriff's Department at 520-351-4900. You can also contact the FBI directly. The reward remains $1,200,000. Stay with this. I will talk to you soon.
There you have it, folks. Nancy Guthrie. they know and understand and build in case they can't make an arrest until they can prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt. Otherwise, they'll just have to let the person go, and then the person can run across state lines to a different country, all that. So if they know who did it, they're acting like they don't know who did it because they need their evidence that will pass a jury. But Nanos has pretty much guaranteed that most of the good evidence was screwed when he screwed the pooch on the forensic examination of that property and treated it as a walkaway for 4 freaking days. What a dumbass. All because he cares about his own ass. Self-centered bastard. What a piece of work, man. Oh my God. I'd like to slap the shit out of him. You guys saw my little boxing thumbnail the other day where I was knocking him out. It's late. It's 12:17. I got to work tomorrow. This is the last day I can work on the landscaping before we go to Florida. I'll be bringing you guys content from Key West next week. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome. Going to go places, check shit out. Yeah, hope the Corvette is paid off. Otherwise, I'd be driving 317. Exactly, Patriot Pride. You better get to bed, son. You must sleep all day. Orlando is pretty far from Key West, probably. But I'm sure we'll be. They do. I don't know what the flight looks like. Mrs. MAB takes care of all that stuff. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it too. You too know the right weekend play live in Miami, Florida. This is a good weekend to go to Key West because it's not Memorial Day weekend. I don't mind flying. Used to, but I don't mind it much anymore. I'm already lived a great life, so if I go down in a plane, it'll just be that much quicker I get to see Jesus. So I know I'm going to a better place after this, so I ain't worried about it. So, yeah, 2:18, Victoria. Time to go to bed, time to end the stream. I appreciate you guys coming by. MAB is getting tired, worked all day. So I will see you guys on the next one. MAB loves you. Be kind to somebody. Do something for somebody. Pay it forward. Peace out.